Response video to Grey Text. Yeah, another sloppy, babbling, pompous pile of mush. Yeah. Alright, so I'll play the second half. I won't bother with the first half. I'll just paraphrase that part. So he's saying there's some British show he watched called Utopia, or something like that. This story is anti-nihilist in some way because somebody wants to eradicate most of the human life. Not anti-natalism. And so it's this whole, again, slander us with eugenics and some sort of bigoted strategy of elitism or some other nonsense that doesn't have anything to do with the subject. But, yeah, it's okay. You can just call anybody who has, you know, if somebody has sex with a woman, like, under 45, they're a pedophile, right? Yes, is that how we're going to use language now? Yeah, you're just so full of shit. Just again, the same rhetoric of sterilize 80% of the people or something. You don't need to sterilize 80% of the people. There's only 10% of the people who are having all of the excess population. All of it. It's in 10% of the population. 80% of the people are already not replicating at a rate sufficient to maintain human existence. You're going to just keep ignoring the truth. Oh, that's right. Of course you are, because you're a liar. Yeah, and that's what liars have to do. Propagandists. Let's just call you a propagandist. And propagandists have to keep distorting the truth.
The thing is, obviously, it's not questioned by any of the people in the show, because all the people that hear this but still are not persuaded, their mentality is, but how dare you do this to people? It's against their will and so on, and that seems to be the argument that's going to be the pervading one through the remainder of the show.
I guess this has something to do with, you know, how dare you sterilize people, somehow bad thing, whatever. I don't know what he just said, but it's fine, doesn't matter. Let's just deal with some more facts, okay? The fact is that life on Earth is replicating molecule and gladiator war. You got some other explanation? No, you don't. The fact that we have biological hardware that enables us to reproduce is completely a consequence of that biological game that's being played, but doesn't have anything to do with our competence to know when it's right or wrong. If there was, like, dioxin in our poop, would you still say that because people naturally pooped in water, that they should be pooping in our drinking water? Some people, if people had a natural knowledge of how to build a nuclear power plant or even a bomb, that means they should do it. Because we have the money to buy a bazooka, we should have a bazooka. I mean, there's some point where you have to say somebody should be qualified to have an impact or decide the fate of the human race. And the truth is these dumb morons on planet Earth are the ones driving planet Earth. And you might think that's a good idea, but I think that's a really dumb idea.
But I think the main argument is, do we want to do that? I mean, even if we say that there's no other way of, solving these kind of problems of economics, then do we really want to go down the path of sterilising 80% of the world's population?
Yeah, so he keeps saying things like sterilize 80%, which is just a canard. It's just nonsense. You don't need to do that. Most people aren't all that horny to have kids. A lot of kids, especially. Enough to maintain human existence. And so this going down this other road, and there's other solutions and all this kind of stuff, like you're going to create some sort of your definition of a utopia. You're somehow going to fix it. You'll concede that it's broken. You'll concede that it's not good enough. Maybe. That it might not be good enough in the future. That it might be the attrition might be too high. I could argue that standard you've developed for when life is bad enough is so arbitrary and nonsensical. It doesn't have any rational or logical basis. That it's nonsense from the start. Because I think the argument could be made that we're failing right now. If you could maintain right now forever. Is that good enough? Is right now good enough? You know, where most people are living on $2 a day. Is this right now good enough? Or do you say this isn't even good enough to perpetuate? Let alone some future, you know, where more chaos is ruling. Yeah. Just keep promising nothing. Delivering nothing. Just keep the status quo engine of chaos running, so nothing sensible is ever done. Bravo.
Do we want to go down that route? What does it mean for us, you know, as a species?
Why should that mean something to us as a species? You're talking about eugenics. You're pointing some kind of finger of bigotry and nonsense at us, and yet you're the bigot, the human species. Why should I care about the human species? Why is the human species more than the non-existent Martians and the non-existent Phoenicians? Why should I think the human species is any more valuable than those civilizations that were annihilated by nature? If tomorrow a virus happened to get loose in nature, just developed in nature, and it just killed Swedish people, that's all, just Swedish people. You know, what would your response be? Should there be a response? Should we do something to help the poor Swedish people? And you know, you're just not understanding how obvious it is how controlled people are by just an ego notion of what's valuable. That their sense of value has absolutely nothing to do with real integrity. And that's why you've never missed the Martians a day in your life, or the Venetians, or the Moonikins, or the Mercuryites. It's because you're none of it's real. It's all just crap in your head that you think you're somehow essential to the function of the universe. Pathetic. Little tiny peanut brain. I've heard about dinosaurs. Little tiny peanut brain.
That we want to take that kind of action. You know, that we want to control people, control the reproductive organs.
Right. Oh, wearing a condom is controlling reproductive organs. Obliging people to take responsibility, to have the capacity to actually do the job right, or to do the job for a good reason. All of these things are some draconian imposition. Again, no one qualifies to drive the penis. They don't take they don't go to penis ed and learn how, or vagina ed, and learn what the consequences are of baby production, and why and what kind of level of understanding you think should be in the book of Do It Right. You really think Do It Right should be, I want my name into the future, I'm a Muslim nut, and God says I should have 12 kids, even though I can't take care of one of them? Is that because some God book told them so? That should be in the book. So if you can write down, God told me so, then you've accomplished your task of being a qualified reproducer. I have a cool name. My family is cooler than you. I'm going to make sure my name's in the future. If somebody has that answer for having kids, they qualify to be a driver of the penis. Is that your fucking logic? Fucking dinosaur, little tiny brains.
For our own ends, you know, because let's not pretend we're caring about the oceans and shit when we're talking about these things.
Oh yeah, let's not pretend. No, the fact that we actually have these arguments, that we spend time in our life actually thinking about, oh my fucking God, think about what's going on in the ocean. Millions of tiny little baby fishes every fucking day. Gazillions of them. And then every one of these things, they live for like 2 years, 3 years. And then that's it. They just eat, spawn, die. Eat, spawn, die. I mean, it's goddamn disgusting. Oh yeah, let's not pretend that somehow impacts us at all. The fact that life is, this is what life really is. I mean, the ocean is the pure example of what natural selection does. Take the fucking mammals out of the ocean and then explain to me how this is a wonderful, beautiful circle of life. The fucking great white shark, the tuna, the barracuda, ripping the shit out of everything else in its path, the giant fucking squids, go ahead, explain it to me. How it's just a wonderful, beautiful pageant. Sorry, no fucking millions of fish spawning at the same time and then dying. The ocean just washing them up on the shore. And then tell me about how this is spectacular. Fuck you.
We're caring about our quality of life, you know?
Yeah, right. So we're talking about the future, which we probably likely will not exist in, and again, it's about us again. It's about some selfish idea. No, you're the one with the selfish notion that the world can't do without flabby, fat Grey-Texes in it. That somehow the universe needs Grey-Texianism. You're the one with the fucking preposterous ego that can't get over your fucking self.
And how we want our quality of life to be as good as possible, so we're going to control the reproductive organs of other people.
Well, again, how exactly does that have any prospect of making our lives better? I have no prospect of living long enough for it to have any impact on my life, realistically, any substantial impact. I mean, beyond the fact that, yes, it could be, it would be a hugely efficient not to have gigantic, huge populations of ignorant morons raised in fucking cockroach filth. That, yeah, it probably would be a good idea not to have a bunch of extra baggage, a bunch of dyslexic, DDS, FFC'd, fucked all over the fucking place retards babbling around making a mess. Yeah, that probably would be cool if we had less of that.
This is really what's going on.
Oh yeah, it's really what's going on.
Do we really want to enter into some kind of eugenicist?
Yeah, there we go again. Eugenicist. So again, you just can't stay on the subject ever, you guys. Just ever. You're just never on the subject. It's just always turn the subject into somehow we're horny to kill people or stop people from having fun or to make people want to die or to do all this other crap and don't ever talk about a simple subject, which is why should people have a right to decide for some new life form that they should invest in their silly notions of purpose. If some Muslim nut thinks God says so, why should I be the byproduct of his idiocy, his complete fucking insanity? Why should his idiotic ego dictate that I grow up in some country where a bunch of people are babbling from towers and doing all this other mishy-mushy, towel-headed nonsense? Why should I fucking be the victim of that?
Fascistic future.
Oh, right. Compared to what? Give me the example of the non-fascistic fucking past. Give me one fucking example of where people aren't living under some sort of fascism all the time. And it's usually the fascism of the ignorant. The silly fucking libertarian ignorant are the fascists running the show now. The liars. The fascism of lying is all over the place, you fucking peanut brain.
Thinking that it's the only way to avoid Armageddon. And,
well, guess what? If you don't think the only way to avoid Armageddon is going to have something to do with controlling human behavior, then you're a fucking idiot. Because guess what? Technology is going to get way out of hand, and there's going to be no fucking way you can give everybody a nuclear pencil. Alright? It's just not going to happen. We're all not going to fly around in our goddamn light cruisers. It's just not going to happen, Grey-Tex. No possible fucking goddamn way. So let me hear about your utopia. Your fucking utopia. What, do we all go over to Grey-Tex's house and have some broccoli? What the fuck is your utopia?
I don't think so. I think there are better solutions to the world's economic problems than sterilizing people.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think you have to sterilize people unless you're going to give them a paycheck. So you pay them properly. Okay? You pay them to get sterilized instead of making a liability for society. Gee, what a horror. And then the problem takes care of itself, because all the people who have any kind of brains at all usually already choose not to be an imposing motherfucking cunt. I mean, I know it's your ambition. I know if you could find some woman stupid enough, you would impregnate her with your fucking vile seed, just so you could make another derpity-derp fat fucktard to walk the earth and say stupid platitudes, and imagine worlds that can't and never will exist, and pretend that life is mysteriously and fun, and that, yes, I will jump on the unicorn if I can lose 100 or 2 pounds. Fuck you.
But that's just me. I'm one of these crazy idealist types.
No, you're a fucking propagandist. You're a lying, a slandering propagandist. You never stay on the subject. You never deal with the real subject. You're always distorted into somebody, ooh, they're trying to kill you. They're trying to depress you. They're trying to ruin your life. No, they're just fucking talking about what the fuck the nature of life is. And they're pointing to the real world where the great white sharks live and where every bit of the natural mechanism seems to be kind of motivated by insanity. And delusional notions of accomplishment. Again, just explain to me how your life how you've anguished in your life about the non-existence of the Martian civilization. Let's just imagine that nature took it out. Should we put it back? Would you go to any effort to go save the Martians? Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're exactly what you're pointing your finger, and you're the fucking eugenic lunatic. You're the lunatic who thinks you are special. Yeah. Anyway, we'll do the comments. There won't be many of them because people just can't deal with any of this shit rationally, so they don't even say anything anymore. To be serious, who cares? It's a lot like a graphic novel, but it's pretty intellectually interesting places too. Okay, well, never mind. She's just talking about books because that's her thing. If we were successful sterilizing 80% of the population. So here again, the joke. The joke is 80% of the population is reproducing at humanity's extinction rate. That's the rate that 80% are reproducing at. If the bottom 20%, if the highest producers of children, the 20% that produce most of the children, were eradicated from the population, the human race would go extinct by the behavior of the 80% now, already, without sterilization. Retards. Now, the fertile women that remain would make some serious bucks as surrogate mothers. The fertile women that remained would make some serious bucks as surrogate mothers. Oh, I'm trying to think bucks is like a guy with a dick. No, you mean serious money as surrogate mothers. Oh. Fascinating. Right, and for what reason? Why? Oh, that's right, to satisfy ego notions in people's heads, right? So the whole idea of getting your kids into the future would somehow mean something, instead of just the idea of saving the human race. Yeah, you people are just so obvious. Another egomaniacal anticontabad. This comment just amazes me. This will hurt me a lot more than it will hurt you. Winky face. Okay, I don't even know what the fuck that means. What the fuck does that mean? I guess it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Alright. I don't know, is that maybe about the sacrifice or something? Is he mocking the idea that, sometimes you have to do something unpleasant? Like somebody who really in desperate circumstances asked me for money the other day, and it was like, but they've never, ever, ever once paid me back, ever. And we're talking about a pretty big pile of money that they've just sucked out of me, like it's my job to pay for their life. It did hurt me more than it hurt them to say no. But I finally said it because, fuck you. I mean, how many times do I let you fuck me and then I just say, fuck that? Okay? I don't like working, and I certainly don't like working to give you the money so you can piss it away. So, that is a reality, Cantabad. That's the fucking reality in the world, that sometimes you have to do something that you really don't want to do. You don't even want to have to deal with this thing, but you're going to have to deal with it because the assholes are creating a problem, and somebody has to do something about it. Stupid fuck. Anyway, Luddite returns. This will be great. No big deal. You got to crack some eggs to ensure our graceful exit. Well, again, so the idea of doing it gracefully doesn't make sense to you? Or is the fact of the exit the part that you don't get? You think we're not going to exit someday? You think the asteroid isn't coming? You think the solar flare isn't coming? You think the biological disaster isn't coming? You know, it's all going to come someday, and you're the one saying, I want to make sure we have maximum population to endure the Holocaust. Yeah, fuck you, you're a retard. And I love the selective optimism about man, or whatever. Spend hour after hour in original sin mode, whatever that means. But yeah, we can become saints and gracefully exit. What the fuck? It's not about becoming a saint. It's not about being evil or a saint. It's about just this little minimum amount of rational context. Oh, yeah, I can understand it's evolution. Natural selection is a bullshit fucking umpire. It's playing a disgusting game. The umpire is fucking drunken, psychotic lunatic. That's what natural selection is an umpire. And the game is really, really a bad game. And yes, some of the players, once in a while, should have the balls to stand up and maybe raise their hand and say, why are we playing this game? What exactly is the end game here? Oh, you mean this isn't going to just get worse? It's already bad enough, but it's going to get worse, and you want to keep playing. Yeah, fuck you, retard. A greater article of faith than most outlandish theistic doctrine. Well, again, it's a doctrine. It's a doctrine to accept the theory of evolution and to understand natural selection for what it is. Retarded. Yeah, that is theistic doctrine. Yeah, fuck you. What disturbs me, who cares, is roughly the following. Anti-nihilists are quick to verbalize their disgust with socially mandated states relative to suicide. Well, I think suicide is something you do to yourself, right? Oh, yes, it does. Entirely to yourself you do it. That's right. It's completely your own fucking goddamn life, and you should be able to invest it in your own fucking judgment when it comes to your own fucking consequences. And procreation is... Let me think. Does procreation involve a third party? Does it involve some innocent, victimized individual who will be projected into a circumstance because of your behavior? Oh, yeah, I guess it does, doesn't it? So I guess there are completely different kinds of behavior. Suicide and reproducing are completely different behaviors. One is intrinsically impositional, and one is completely your own goddamn business. Gee, that's not hard to do, is it? And I agree, quite repulsive. But then when it comes to bodily autonomy, I just love that. Bodily autonomy and its restriction regarding having children, the attitude is meh. Well, again, if you can't, you think it's your bodily autonomy that somehow that gives you a right to impose on somebody else. Because nature gave you the ability to do it, you have a right to do it. So I could just make this as a defense for rape or some other imposition, right? If I want it, I'm really cool, she's just a dumb slut, so yeah, I'll just take. I mean, you're not making a rational argument in defense of your imposition. You're not saying somehow nature gave you the authority to impose. No, it just gave you the ability. It didn't qualify you to make a rational decision, so why the fuck shouldn't somebody have the right to judge your fucking decision, you stupid asshole? Again, and some of us have just simply stated, let me hear the rational reason. Just give me the rational reason. Here's your keys to the car. Write something rational about why you need to procreate that doesn't have the word I want or I need or I'm going to take, and then maybe you can get somewhere. But you're not going to be able to do that, so you're never going to get the keys to the car if I'm going to have the right to say something about it, because you can't say the right thing. And then we got babbles on a lot, or whispers to snakes a lot. Good day, mate. Yay, team. The thing is, the anti-nihilists and evilists, yes, I love that typo, haha, evilist, may as well lobby and advocate for the moon to be made of rice, whatever that is. Post a Class X solar flare, a coronal mass ejection, impact Earth. NASA says it will get 15 minutes warning. National Academy of Science tells you 90 seconds to melt every transformer, grower, pig, bottleneck of human beings. Well, I don't know what your point is, idiot. Yeah, I mean, you're really not making you're making my point for me, okay? We're totally fucked. We've been really lucky to have the 10,000 years of clear weather that we've had, and we ought to get ready for the storm because it's goddamn a-coming, okay? The natural storm is a-coming. We've got all these mechanistical storms caught up in our own civilization, its own deterioration and rotting from the inside, in the sense that we have realized that, man, we're hard to satisfy, that we have this addictive condition where, we get and we want more. It just is so futile in so many ways, and now we got the prospect that the clear weather is going to go away, and it's going to turn into the rainy season, and it's going to get ugly as fuck on planet Earth. And you fuckers are just as glib could be about the whole goddamn thing, and it just makes you the most obnoxious, evil bastards. I mean, really, the sit-backers are just the most disgusting. These fucking spectators are the most disgusting piles of shit. You don't have the balls to have a real opinion. The funny analogy is the supervillain in the Final Fantasy who tries to destroy the world due to suffering. Well, I don't even know what that means. I mean, fuck you, ... fucker. Sterilization will not happen unless what the hell does this even mean? A funny analogy is the supervillain in some Final Fantasy who tries to destroy the world due to suffering. The funny analogy. So I don't understand. So it's funny to recognize the habitual cycles of the human race, and to say something like after World War 15 or something, if everybody stood up and said, oh, let's not do this anymore. That would be an irrational guy. But if it's World War IV, he's not rational. That's your standard. You're just an asshole. You just want to take it up the ass 10 more times before you get a clue and say, oh, fuck, this was stupid. You want a funny analogy? I mean, maybe I'll make this in video form someday. But yeah, if I was going to do this utopia thing and write a story of the future, I'd have a scene in there where the future people go to the graveyard and they all pull out their Johnsons and take a piss on the dead past. Because it's the dead past that you're going to be hated and despised. You're not going to be appreciated for this glib nonsense, for this sitting on the fucking bench saying, oh, let's just let nature do its thing. Let's just let chaos rule. You're not going to be appreciated for that. Okay? If I'm going to be in the future, I'm going to be pissing on your fucking graves. If not something else. Anyway, sterilization will not happen unless the sterilizing agent gets widespread in the population, undetected through the water, food. All this shit doesn't need to take place. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, you can do abortions like a year later and it's still okay in my book. But this doesn't matter. You can pay people out of their fertility. These poor assholes are, these assholes breeding are so mercenary that they'd sell out for $50, some of them. They'd sell out for $50. They got no fucking, they don't have any ambitions here. They're just lazy, sloppy, reckless, ignorant assholes. They have kids because they can't figure out what else to do with them fucking selves. Because they're too drunk and stupid to have any other life agenda. Okay? You don't need to sterilize them maliciously. You can do it with just a few bucks. The energy crisis is going to hit food production and distribution, agriculture, merchandise, fertilizer, transport, refrigeration. All reduces the amounts of energy. Without it, tiny Netherlands can't feed 16 million people with potatoes from the backyard. Without it, the tiny Netherlands, I don't understand why the Netherlands would actually need refrigeration. I mean in the sense that they could just put potatoes in root cellars. So that doesn't even make sense to me. So you're a fucking idiot. Well, the plot of the story on the show was that they had developed a flu vaccine, then created a fake flu epidemic. Was interesting. I don't know. Again, these are all your propaganda, fear mongering, playing these idiotic games, blah 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 blah. Fuck you. I mean, really. I mean, it was done in James Bond movies already too, so it's okay. I mean, in my opinion, is as long as you take the eugenics. Certain human beings killed thing, whatever, sterilization isn't the worst thing that could happen to the planet Earth. I mean, it really isn't. A lot worse is written right in the you're probably going here. Is going to be a lot worse than this idea that all of a sudden people find something else to do with their time except making babies. I mean, the whole idea of being sterilized by nature never scared me any, of course. I mean, wow, great, fantastic. Thank you. Please, yes, no problem. That pretty much sums up antinatalism. Plot to Mission Impossible 2. I don't know. Who cares? What's Nephilim? I don't know what that means. The decision to manipulate civilization at the expense of humanity has, I'm afraid, been a model in history. The decision to manipulate civilization at the expense of humanity. You know, what manipulations would those be? What are you talking about? What sense does that make? And we see what humanity has done to civilization. We see what humans do when they vote with their feet, and they vote with their pocketbook, and they vote with their mouth, and they vote with their stomach. We see what they vote for. So don't tell me that something else is manipulating civilization besides the dumbest, stupidest humans on Earth. They're driving the bus. The morons are driving the bus. There are many reasons why this is always the case, but psychopaths being an integral part of human nature, well, whatever, that's the integral part, seems to be the most obvious. Yeah, well, I think you're the psychopath. You got a little sheep in your fucking icon. Charlie. Charlie the retard. There are very good psychological reasons why mankind ascended to become the supreme predator. Yeah, well, supreme predator is more glorification. You know, it's like it's like great white sharks in wheelboats. You know, like paddle wheelboats. You know, disabled, crippled, anemic pieces of shit great white sharks in paddle wheelboats, pressing a bunch of buttons to assassinate the other fishes. I mean, that's the human race. The human race is a fucking fraud. It has no balls. It has no integrity. It has nothing that a real predator has. It hasn't earned it. Okay? It cheated all the way through. It threw fucking rocks. It picked up rocks and bashed things over the head with rocks. I mean, it's a cheater from the very beginning. It can't do a straight-up fight. It can't do straight-up logic. It can't do anything straight up. It has to do it all crooked, deceptive, and manipulative, and as propagandist motherfucking cunts. So fuck you. You people suck. Just the truth. You suck. Your brains function like shit. Fuck you.